start with very basics. I'm just gonna do a normal grade and I'm gonna just balance it. Okay, these are just my pre-notes. This is how I usually use it. Okay, let's start with the basic contrast. Just wanna make sure that my footage is kind of balanced initially. Yeah, the footage is kind of dark, but dark itself. So I'm just gonna use some gain. Maybe a little better. I'm just gonna use some shadows and reduce it just a tiny bit. Yeah, I usually play around with shadows later on as well, but just trying to make it more balanced as much as I can in the starting. Of course, needs saturation. There's no saturation at all. Also, as you can see, the footage is already very doesn't have very natural colors, honestly. Like the tints on the background, everything is very plain, very silvers. There's nothing going on. I don't have any colors, so even if I pull up more saturation, there's nothing that I can see. Still, I'm just gonna make sure my footage is kind of balanced. Okay. Also, I'm just building this pattern node just in case I might use some other colors later on, and maybe just change some of it. On the next node, I'm gonna use add default anchors just a bit so it looks more neutral, not and very less flat. Nothing too much. I can of course go back and forth. That is the best thing about DaVinci, that you can still go back and forth and do any changes if you need anything, and because it's all node based, I'm kind of satisfied with what I have right now. And now here comes the real job, how we can separate the background with the skin tone. So from here, I'm gonna start off with the layer node. Magic mask, let's say. I'm using this. I'm using magic mask. So magic mask. I would highly recommend you can also use qualifiers. The last video I made, I used qualifiers, but I'm using magic mask just for the sake of the video. Track the whole footage with the same trackers. Now here's the trick part. Now I'm gonna use the upper node, which is on my layered node, the first node. I'm gonna change the color. So as you can see now, because I've changed the color, it's not affecting any of my skin tone. Once I've done it, I'm gonna go to my next node and of course change that blue to more cyan. So yeah, this is kind of the stuff I want. Okay, and I'm gonna use the same node to do some temperature shift. Just a tiny bit. Okay. So this is how I did the separation. Now on top of that, there's another thing that I want to do is, just go back to my layer node and reduce the key output, which the key output is basically just the opacity of this shot. And because I don't need a very crisp edge on his mask, so I want a little bit of here and there can also work, just a very tiny bit, nothing too aggressive. Maybe 900 or something, just for now. Let's do it. And I'm gonna use this node to apply the film look on top. Okay, perfect. Maybe I'm gonna change that to something escalated. Yeah, kind of indicative. Okay, this here kind of works, but I don't need that much contrast. I need some of it. And up here only, also I'm gonna use a pattern node. I can even go back to my other node and try to increase some warmth on top of his skin tone as well, just to get more warmth overall. I'm going to use another node and increase my temperature overall in the scene. So you see now this node is bringing all the effects all together. Not just if it was just a single node, it might have looked something like this, right? And just because we did the separation, needs to look some like this and get some separation. Also on my other palette nodes, I'm gonna add another palette node and just gonna go and get more yellow tones. As you can see, I have something going on the background as well, and just need to increase the saturations there, get that going as well. You know, just making sure that all my background is also entitled and I can have separated sections, and looks should look overall good. And now just to sum it up, I'm gonna add a Vaniac. There's some Vaniac on my film creator look as well, where I'm gonna add an anyway on top. You know, just gives more depth, and I need more depth in this shot because, like I said, nothing was going on in this shot. I'm gonna take it off just a little dark here. Okay, this should be fine. Okay, cool. Now we're kind of somewhere here where we want it. Also, now most importantly, as you can see, you know, one of my scopes, even on my scopes, the highlights looks more greenish. I don't want green, and I want a little bit more of warmth, even on the kind of skin tones. And you know, if you look on the top, these tints, they still look kind of greenish or silverish. So I want to change that and make it more warm, as if it was actually a color tint right behind us. So for that, I'm just gonna go under my HDR and I'm gonna use the light effect. Not too much. I'm gonna use the light. I'm just gonna use just a bit. And if you want to control the light, I'm just gonna go to this option up here. At this, I'm gonna move the lights again, just so I can see what exactly I'm selecting. And I'm gonna raise it a bit because I just wanna pick those specific lights I have in the background. Maybe just a tiny bit on his forehead, nothing too much. This is a good buck. And then now you see I'm just only affecting the highlights using the HDR node. Okay guys, so here's a quick example of how you can have that separation on any of your videos. For example, this is the kind of video I have. And as you can see, there's nothing going on in the video. Even if you just look at this first grade as well, and if I just try to balance it out, the tin, everything else, the tin itself is very gray. There's nothing going on in this footage, and this is how we end up making it somehow. You know, we have more stuff going on. This actually looks kind of now this gives you kind of music vibe. I usually work on these shots in a very dark environment. Of course, I'm just moving places here and there, so I'm just doing this for the sake of this video. If you'd like to see any specific video, just let me know in your comments. Thank you so much guys for watching, and sorry about my bad hair and everything. We're just hustling up, and I just wanted to do a quick video. Thank you.